It was a cold Friday morning when Laura finally sat down after a long day, curled up in bed, and opened the baby monitor app on her phone. She expected something light, maybe Mia babbling, maybe Tony making silly faces, something normal, but when she hit play, she didn't laugh. She froze. A few seconds later, she started crying. By the time the clip ended, she was holding her chest, overwhelmed. Not with sadness, but with something bigger. Relief, love, shock, all at once. That short clip of Tony and their daughter would later spread across the internet, making millions of strangers emotional. But what no one saw was what happened just 2 weeks before that moment. The footage starts with Mia crying in her crib. Tony walks in, clearly tired. He pauses for a second, like he's thinking. Instead of rocking her back to sleep, he gently picks her up, carries her into the living room, and sets her down. Then he does something unexpected. He turns on music and starts dancing. Not cool dancing, not rehearsed. Just completely unfiltered, awkward, full-body dad. Dancing arms flailing, knees bouncing, zero rhythm. At first, Mia just stares at him like, what is happening? Then she laughs. Really laughs. Within seconds, she's on her feet trying to copy him. They're spinning, wobbling, bumping into each other, just pure chaos and joy. Tony drops to his knees at one point just to make her giggle harder. Watching it, you'd think this was just a sweet parenting moment. But for Laura, it meant something else entirely. Because not long before that, she thought her family was about to fall apart. Tony came home early that afternoon. No message, no heads up. Laura was in the kitchen when she heard the door open. "Hey, you're home early," she said, smiling. Tony didn't answer. When she looked at him, something felt off immediately. His eyes were red, his movements slow, not like himself. And then she noticed the smell. Alcohol. Tony almost never drank, not even socially. When she stepped closer, he pulled back slightly, not aggressively, just distant. Without explaining anything, he walked past her and went straight to Mia's room. Laura followed quietly. Tony stood by the crib, looking down at Mia. His voice was low, shaky. "I love you so much." He wiped his face quickly, like he didn't want to be seen crying. That night, he barely touched his food, hardly spoke. And around 2 a.m., Laura woke up to him saying Mia's name in his sleep loud, panicked. That's when she turned the light on. "Tony, what's going on?" she asked. "You're scaring me." He sat there for a few seconds before answering. "Someone came to my office yesterday." A pause. "Charles." Laura's stomach dropped. Charles, her ex. Someone she hadn't been in a real relationship with for years. "He said Mia might be his," Tony continued. "He wants a paternity test." Laura shook her head immediately. "That's not true." Tony nodded slightly, but he looked torn. "I want to believe you. I do. I need to understand what's going on." Then he asked for her phone. She handed it over. He scrolled. Recent calls. Multiple from Charles over the past few weeks. Tony looked up. "Why didn't you tell me he was contacting you?" "I didn't think it mattered," she said quickly. "I kept ignoring him. I didn't want to bring drama into the house, especially with everything going on at your job." Tony didn't argue. He just stood up, walked to the closet, and pulled out a folder from his work bag. Inside were printed photos. Laura felt her chest tighten before she even saw them. Photos of her, with Charles. At a hotel. Time-stamped just days before her wedding to Tony. She sat down hard on the edge of the bed. "I can explain," she said, already tearing up. And she did. She told him Charles had been calling non-stop back then, too. That he said he wasn't okay. That he wanted closure. She agreed to meet him in a public place, a hotel bar, because she thought it would be quick. He looked unwell. Said he felt dizzy. She helped him upstairs because she didn't want to leave him like that. But she insisted nothing happened. "I left," she said. "I shouldn't have gone at all. I know that. But I left." Tony didn't interrupt, didn't raise his voice. He just sat there, absorbing everything. After a long silence, he said quietly, "We need to know for sure." He scheduled the DNA test the next morning. The next few days felt off. Not explosive, not dramatic, just heavy. Tony wasn't cold. He wasn't angry in the way people expect. He still made Mia breakfast, still read her stories, still carried her to bed. But there was distance. Careful conversations, long pauses, eye contact that didn't last as long. One night, he said something Laura didn't expect. "No matter what the result says, she's my kid. That part doesn't change." And he meant it. But it didn't erase the uncertainty. Because trust isn't just about love. It's about clarity. And right now, they didn't have it. A week later, the email came through. They were sitting on the couch when Tony's phone buzzed. He opened it, read silently, once, then again. Laura watched his face, trying to read it before he said anything. His shoulders dropped, not in defeat, in release. He handed her the phone. Probability of paternity, 99%. Tony was Mia's biological father. Laura let out a breath she didn't realize she'd been holding for days. They didn't say much. They didn't need to. The very next day, Laura stepped out to run a quick errand. Less than an hour. That's when the baby monitor recorded the moment. Tony, alone with Mia, no pressure, no conversation, no test results hanging in the air anymore. Just a dad and his daughter. And he chose joy. He chose to dance. Watching it back, Laura realized something that hit even harder than the test result. Even when Tony wasn't sure, he never pulled away from Mia. He never treated her differently. He showed up fully before he had proof. And Mia, she never questioned it. She just laughed and danced with her dad. What would you have done in Tony's position? Would you wait for the truth or protect yourself first? Let me know in the comments. And if stories like this stick with you, subscribe for more. See you in the next one.